Hey, folks, man, what a wonderful day it is to be a servant of the Most High God. You remember that story about the woman with the issue of blood? She bled for, 12 years? She had spent all of her money, spent everything she had, seeking help from all these different doctors, and physicians, and such, all to no avail. And she heard about Jesus and how he touched and healed so many others. And she believed that nobody else could heal her, but Jesus could. If only she could just reach even but the hem of his robe, that she would be healed. Oh, and she did it. She went to where he was at. She got through this crowd and barely was able to reach up there and grab the hem of his robe. And Jesus stopped right then and there and began to turn around and ask, "Who touched me?" And the disciples around him, they're like, "What do you mean, who touched you?" Basically, all of these people are crowded around you. Everybody's touching you. He said, "What do you mean, who touched you?" He says, "I felt the power leave me." Oh, not that he had any lack of power, but power departed not from him, but to somebody. That's what he noticed. In other words, he recognized the fact that somebody touched him in great faith and was healed in that very moment. My. To have such great faith as that woman did, to think if all I had to do was just touch the hem of his garment and I will be healed. And you have to understand the times of those days. You know, in certain public events and things that's going on, women were pushed aside. Children were also. If people were surrounding Jesus, it would have mostly been men. And so a woman would have been pushed aside, and yet she'd have to force her way through to get to Jesus. Isn't that how we should be? We should be trying to get to Jesus. Just get to Jesus out of faith, and we can get everything that we need because he loves us and he's faithful. You know, there's another story in the Bible similar to the woman with the issue of the blood. We find it in Matthew chapter 14, beginning in verse 34. Let's read. It says, "When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized him, they recognized Jesus, they sent out into all the surrounding region and brought to him all who were sick and begged him that they might only touch the hem of his garment. And as many as touched it were made perfectly well." When I see this particular word here, in the New King James, it says they were sick. Right? In the King James Version, it's translated to the word diseased. Now, this word that's used here can be used physically or morally. Okay? And it's translated, and for the likeness here in context, it could have been translated into the word diseased, of course, and it could have been translated into grievously miserable, sick, or sore. Sounds like the worst of the worst, the illest of the illest throughout their surrounding region were brought to Jesus, and every one of them that touched the hem of his garment were made perfectly whole. You know, as Christians, we are all supposed to be the hands and the feet of Jesus. And the edges of the garments of the clothing we wear is the hem of Jesus, because we are his legal representatives in the earth. Should the believers try to get to us, that they might be, should those who are maybe not even believers, but at least have faith that Jesus can heal, should they get to us that they can be healed? Yes. But you know what? Sometimes there's individuals that the miraculous seems to surround way more often than the rest of us, you know. When certain events like that come around, we want to invite those people in need that we know around us, maybe strangers even that we could find on street corners and such that have need, and drag them to Jesus. Yeah, I'm Jesus, you're Jesus, they're Jesus. Drag them to Jesus. His legal representatives in the earth, and say, come here, touch the hem of Jesus and get what you need. Such a gathering is occurring at Believers Fellowship this weekend, August 15, 16, and 17th. It's coming to Believers Fellowship in Lakeland, Florida on North Slocum Loop Road. The event is what's known as Believers Gathering. Now, that organization is not necessarily associated with Believers Fellowship, despite the name. But the guest speakers there will be Roy and Melanie Fields. You may have heard their names before. It doesn't matter. It's for Jesus to be glorified, not we. And we're glorified through him meeting the needs of his people. Won't you come on out, will you? And now, they do ask, and you will be required to pre-register. And you can pre-register at believersgathering.com. So won't you go ahead and do that, and don't meet me there, beat me there. Amen.